Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Screen Time Continuum. This is a new show brought to you by your favorite hosts, Nick and Keelan. Keelan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well over here, feeling blessed almost, if I could say it that way.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I think that if you can feel blessed during times like this, then you're in a good position for sure.
I
Um,
definitely agree.
And speaking of times like this, it's interesting because I think that this show is going to be perfect for most people who are kind of stuck in at home right now, maybe looking for movies to look into, maybe looking for recommendations or deterrence, possibly. So we wanted to create this new show for you guys, and basically the concept is that we've decided to take one random movie. In this case, for episode one, it's going to be the 1996 smash hit Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And what we want to do going forward and continuing through this series is we are going to take the movie that we reviewed first, which is this one. And then for our next episode, we're going to take an actor in this movie who is also in Eraser and review one of their movies. And we're going to go forward basically like that and see where we wind up. I'd like to do kind of like a retrospective in maybe a year and see where it all led us to, because it'll be an interesting kind of look at the movie scape when we do it that way. And so that's the basic idea behind the Screen Time Continuum. We wanted to basically see where this one humble Arnold Schwarzenegger movie would take us. And so we are very excited to review this movie for you tonight. And disclaimer, as always, is going to be going forward. There's spoilers in this discussion. And so please, if you haven't seen it, don't be angry at us if we ruin some parts for you. And going forward, every episode of Screen Time Continuum is going to be a spoiler discussion for the movie involved. So you have been forewarned. I will warn everybody each episode if we have to. I know a lot of people get upset, but people shouldn't be too upset because this is a almost 30-year-old movie. So,
They'll still be upset. That won't stop them.
They'll still be upset. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, without much further ado, I wanted to get into the pedigree of this movie for you guys. So, Eraser is a 1996 movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vanessa Williams, and James Caan. It was directed by Charles Russell and written by Tony Puryear and I'm sorry, there was somebody else, but I missed the name. So, but he's the head writer of it. And the synopsis for the movie is: a witness protection specialist becomes suspicious of his coworkers when dealing with a case involving high-tech weapons. Now, we are going to kick it off to Keelan to get his first initial reactions and take us through the beginning of the movie. So, Keelan, when you're ready, my good friend.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you. So, guys, I just want to first open by saying anyone who hasn't seen this movie, if you are into conspiracy theories or theories as to how things operate behind the veil, this is one of those movies that's going to make you laugh at the whole concept just from the beginning of it. And not because it's nonsensical or it's not possible, because immediately you feel like they're trying to influence you to believe that it doesn't exist. Why are these credits so fast? So you open and you have these credits that are moving at the speed that made you feel like you're going to be on some type of a journey. Like I almost thought that I was in the climax of Jurassic Park watching the credits. But
right.
They were at the same time informative at this. That was the other weird part, is it starts off very ominous. It starts like you're trying to you're almost just getting this very vague understanding.
Yeah, documents being burned.
Correct, right.
Yeah.
And then you get to identification in a face, and it's like, wait, how? My honest reaction, I rewound the credits because I thought I missed something.
You thought you were picking up some subliminal programming there or something like that.
Right. Man. I thought the message was getting lost, and because I was trying so hard to block the message that I also missed what was going on in the credits. I was incorrect. Everything I caught. Yeah. everything I caught was 1000% what I saw the first time, and it made 0 sense to me.
Right.
However, right after that, we jump into the entire breakdown of what it is and what needs to be done. You see, what I really liked was the set of skills, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Arnie is great. Yeah.
Is he-
Before we get past the credits, I do want to tell everybody, if you were around in the '90s, you would probably pick up on this theme in movies that every '90s movie has this sort of montage credit sequence in front of the movie. I'm so glad that we moved past that in modern era, because it's really one of the most tedious things about older movies is that they have to tell you everybody that was involved ahead of time and then they tell you at the end as well. So this is like a 2-minute montage of, like Keelan said, very random images going on as you see who was the assistant director and all of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to make a note of that because I'm very glad we don't do that much anymore in movies.
If I'm being honest, I think there's a place for that in certain movies. If that were something that happened more often in today's B-rolls and 2020 B-rolls, that could be like the new niche for that type of for those films, lower rated films. But this was actually like, I think this was one of the top films of the year. So, but considering, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's hot still coming off of Terminator when this comes out. And we will get to the Terminator effect a little later into this breakdown, because there was a Terminator effect for those who don't think. It's the early 90s and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Believe me, it happened.
Oh yeah, they're gonna make some homages for sure.
Oh yeah. So he breaks. Not he breaks in. Excuse me. But the movie breaks in and it gets into these fine set of skills. And I was a little impressed, if I'm being honest, of how quickly it got into these skills of a sleuth killer.
Yeah.
That so happens to be the good guy.
Right. Yeah. So basically, the movie starts with these people being tied up and kind of tortured by some mafioso type guys in their house. And Arnie, being the action stud that he is, ninjas up. And I guess, what the montage in the beginning is him getting ready to ninja up, because at the very end, you see him in the balaclava. And so he ninjas up and he starts taking out these mobsters in this house to save this, guy that's being tortured, basically.
Right. Yeah. No. And something else I thought that was really I'm not even gonna say interesting. What was very weird about that part of the intro, just there was no recon time for him. And almost seemingly in most of the parts of this movie, there was no everyone else had to show some type of recon. He just walked into a situation and knew exactly how many enemies he had to go up against. He walked in knowing exactly how many bullets they had, how many clips, which way he needed to move, and what was and wasn't going to go. What I really thought was interesting about the beginning, though, is what was he hanging from?
Oh, who knows, man? There's a lot of questions I have, and it's simply answered by James Caan saying he's just the best.
He's the best.
You don't have to worry about how he can do the things that he does.
Right. And he's my best friend in this entire movie of breaking down what Mr. John Kruger is and is not capable of. Or I'm sorry, what the Eraser is and is not capable of, because clearly that's not his name.
No.
Because in the credits, it's just Eraser.
Right. Well, and so for our audience, Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a character named John Kruger, and he is a WITSEC protector. So he basically, what his job is to protect people in witness protection and to also fix their deaths if need be, so that they can get out of situations that would otherwise have them dead. So this opening scene is him basically saving this witness protected person from the mafia, basically tuning him up. And that we find out that he works for the U.S. Marshal, and that is his job, is to watch over people that are awaiting trial to testify against crime organizations, or like we will see coming up, the U.S. government or large corporations.
Right. And a quick question I have: do you
Mm.
think someone, not someone with his fine set of skills, um, do you think someone with his job description actually could exist in those type of situations?
No, dude, I was thinking about this and I'm like, good Lord, like he and you know, we will probably talk about this a little bit further, but I like his response to everything is blow it up.
Yep.
So like he blows up when he saves the mob guy, you know, the witness protecting mob guy, they
Blows up
blow
the
up the
house.
house, blows up the house, gives the guy a new identity and
What are you
drops him
doing?
off.
I'm setting
Yeah.
fuse.
Yeah.
What?
Right. So I definitely don't think that at any point ever that witness protection officers ever went that far to fake somebody's death, because he had cadavers and he had, like, you know, credit cards
Oh
and all
yeah.
of that stuff. Like he was
Hey,
doing the
takes a
most,
criminal to beat the criminal, man.
I guess, but he was never like told it was never said that he was a criminal. It was just that he was very good at his job.
Right. Well, and if we're going off of the realistic thoughts of the average person in the 90s, it takes a criminal to know a criminal. So I think they were just playing off of how back then, if you were the star of the movie, you were just the best, the best and the worst, if need be.
Right. No, and I think this movie falls victim to the kind of trope that the 90s had, was like, how can we make a very mundane job a thriller movie?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you had like the Guardian, or not the Guardian, the Bodyguard, and then you have stuff like this. It's like,
Right.
okay, so in most people's life, if you're a bodyguard, your life is pretty boring and you're not, you know, jumping in front of bullets and stuff. I just think it's hilarious. Like in the 90s, we were like, what can we make really cool and badass and put Arnold Schwarzenegger in?
Right. Right. And so even with that, making him really badass. So again, this is the U.S. Marshal, but he's the best of the shadow ops. Shadow ops don't exist.
No,
That's
no.
why they're called shadow ops.
That's right. That's right.
So you don't see them. You don't sit on the
he
plane with
but
them.
he's going to the office and like
Right.
people are like,
Everybody
who's
doesn't
this
walk
guy?
in and know, hey, let me get your ID on this. It's this one. Who's him? If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Huh?
Yeah, but he's just taking a donut and going to sit at his desk, you know, like,
Has a whole office, but nobody knows who he is. Explain.
right. Yeah, yeah. It's
But
so
if we're
silly.
being honest, also, I took a really good look at his quote unquote office. That looked like the janitor's closet.
Yeah, it looked like a laboratory or something,
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. So basically this character, Arnie, I'm just gonna call him Arnie because he's always Arnold. So
Yeah.
Arnie basically is contracted to protect this new target, and that would be played by Vanessa Williams, and the character's name is Lee.
Mhm.
And Lee is going to test. Huh?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of the writers. That was late.
Oh, yeah, totally. And Lee is going to testify against a corporation called Cyrez Corp.
Cyrus.
And Cyrez Corp has a dirty secret. They're supposed to be a military contractor, but there's rumors that they are selling a secret weapon to other countries. And Lee has information about this back end deal that this corporation is doing.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I'm sorry. I messed up. I missed them. Can you say rumors again for me?
Rumors. Yeah.
Like, so, and what was so cool but weird to me again, but it kept pace with the credits, right? The credits, the opening scene, the introduction of who he is, and then moving into her. And what I loved and I thought was so funny was how fast we moved from who she is to immediately putting her in the eye of the into the eye of the storm, making it to where.
Oh yeah, her first scene introducing her is she's going undercover to go get the data from Cyrez.
And that was confusing.
Yeah, it was very confusing.
I was confused. I thought she was an FBI agent immediately. I was like, okay, so she's an agent. So what is this? Because that first statement the guy makes well, who is she? She's a real life good person.
Yeah.
A real life good person.
A real life good person. Really? Oh my God.
What? Yeah, I'm like, explain. I don't get. And I thought we were going to get some context on that. Like this was some type of training operation. No, No, she's
No,
just a real life snitch that
she's
doesn't
just
know
an
what she's talking
employee.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, she's an
And
employee that got wise to what the corporation was doing and basically was enlisted by the FBI to wear a wire and basically do corporate espionage in order to get the information.
commit corporate theft.
Yes, yeah, basically.
Real
Yeah.
life good people don't commit theft.
Yeah,
Let me say that alone.
right.
But
So she manages to pull the information from the database, which is hilarious because the database is this giant vault room that has like these robotic arms taking like floppy disks from the wall and like moving them around and stuff. And I thought to myself, like, this whole room, and it's like a giant, it looks kind of like Westworld almost. Like that whole giant room was probably like as much information that you can fit on an SSD card now. You know what I mean? Like you can get a terabyte SSD card, and like that whole room was probably like a couple gigabytes of information.
52 gigs right there.
Right, exactly.
52. That's all it was. We definitely have more room in the average Xbox today.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing when you watch these movies that are, you know, like in 1996 wasn't that long ago, but you watch these movies and it's like, holy moly, the tech is so old.
Well, but then there's some of them where the concepts are so current, it's scary.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are certain concepts, like higher end concepts, that are applicable to today, but a lot of that tech that I was looking at, I'm like, goodness gracious, like very, very old technology.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead.
So from there we jump into, you know, she's stealing the specs and all of the accounting data for one particular thing. And again, I think to myself, no matter how high you are up on this chain, for you to know exactly where all this stuff is, you've allowed and promoted some of it as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where, for me, I'm like, okay, so she works for a weapons manufacturer and they sell weapons, side eye.
Yeah.
Like they sell weapons. Okay, they sell weapons to bad people. They sell weapons. What do you mean? Good people aren't looking for weapons.
It's okay. It's okay to sell weapons to the U.S. government, but you can't sell them to international terrorists. Keelan, come on, you know
Good
this.
people don't buy weapons. I don't care if they're the government or international terrorists.
Yeah.
And guess what? And forgive me for playing devil's advocate here, but on the outside of any border, from the towards the inside of the next border, guess what? That other side of the border is the bad guy. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
But so from there, what I thought was crazy was the CEO snapping out on her. And would you like to?
Yeah. So she in the middle of her espionage, she gets called out because as soon as she makes it out of the vault with the information, the CEO has a henchman waiting for her. And she is whisked away to the penthouse suite of the Cyrez Corporation, and we got the CEO who's like, "What did you do? Who are you working for?" And she is being very noble and like, "I thought we were working for the U.S. government, sir, and it seems like you're selling this weapon to other countries." And the guy's like, "You don't know what you're getting into," and then he pulls out a gun. And like I like the way that they kind of fake you out in this movie. They did that with this scene and then another scene coming up we'll talk about. But he pulls out the gun. I'm like, oh, he's gonna pull the gun on her, and then he just swallows the gun and shoots himself in the head.
It's messed up because I think what's funny about it, or I think what's crazy about it, is the fact that we saw the same level of humor in it.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to shoot himself in the head. He had the upper hand the entire time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, wait, you have the upper hand. Whether she's working for anyone else, you own and control this entire building. If you kill yourself, now the building goes into a disarray and you don't know what happens because you're not here. But what was even crazier to me was you're the only person involved that was on a higher level than her who thought to kill themselves. Everyone else was just thinking like, oh, this will be fine.
Yeah.
This is the job we are involved in. This is what we, and I think that's what made his killing himself funny. Like, wait, that was you weren't built for this game.
I know, it was very strange. And of course, this incident sets off Vanessa Williams and into the needing of Arnold Schwarzenegger's sort of particular set of skills.
Right.
She realizes that there's some bad people after that information that she has, and there are people that want to silence her because she's going to go and testify against the corporation with this information. And so this is where Schwarzenegger comes in with his WITSEC expertise, and his boss, James Caan, conscribes him to basically look after Vanessa Williams. And so it's so funny because Vanessa Williams goes home and she takes a copy of the information with her. So she makes 2 copies. One was confiscated by the FBI. Another one she kept herself. And it's hilarious because for some reason she puts the disc, and it's a micro CD, so it makes it look more futuristic. She puts it into her computer, and then all of a sudden the company's like, she's trying to get into the system. And I'm like, wait a minute, how do you guys even know that? Like, it's literally on a disc. There's no internet. There's like, how do you guys know?
Same thought over here. That was the first thing I thought. I said, but there's no internet.
Right. Yeah. How did you guys know that she popped in a disc on her computer at home? Nevertheless, they find out that she's running the disc, and they get freaked out. So they send a hit squad after her. And one of my favorite parts is that I guess she has an ex that was just like at the house because he comes down the stairs after taking a shower, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I thought we could talk about things, you know." And like, he's like trying to make up with her, and then all of a sudden this hit squad shows up and just starts like blasting on him, and the dude catches a bullet to the heart. And yeah,
no, okay, so first off, I had a moment when he walks down the stairs. The first thing I think is he's dead.
Yeah, well, first thing I think is, oh, he's in on it. He's gonna try to attack her.
You know, what's crazy is if she had have said, if anything had been said that made it seem like they worked for the company, he worked for the company as well, I may have thought that he was in on the setup or something. Right. But it was like the whole nonchalant, like, no, you're just a weird creepo, and that was in every 90s movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Every love interest was just a stalker, but in just the 90s, it was called love.
Right, yeah. It's endearing when the guy is good looking. That's
right, and that's really what it is. Oh, he has a little bit of money, he's good looking. It's okay, girl. He broke in your house, but what did you your mama? Right. And so when I saw him at first, I'm like, all right, so he's dead. So what's going to happen next? And then the next thought I had was, well, the black guy doesn't die first.
Yeah, no, that's true. He didn't. So basically her ex gets a bullet by these machines now because, okay, so
was that a bullet?
It wasn't really a bullet. So what it is that these weapons that that she has the information of, I guess they're just using them willy-nilly, because the hit squad brings one of these plasma shooting X-ray vision rifles and shoots her ex through the building. And it's pretty outstanding. And of course, Arnie is there. He makes the smooth rescue by being a balloon salesman and going to the door in the nick of time to save Vanessa Williams. And they make it out of the house. Of course, the house blows up. That's the second house that blew up for no reason.
I don't even know how that one blew up either when I think about it.
He turned on, he broke a gas pipe and then turned the thermostat, broke the thermostat.
Oh, he did the same thing in hers too.
He did the same thing. Yeah.
I missed him doing that in hers. That's crazy. Right. I actually missed him doing that in hers somehow.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just happened and it was so, they probably did it so similarly to the very first one that it just glossed over in my subconscious.
Right.
Jeez, so that's nasty.
So Arnie gets Vanessa Williams safe, and they're basically driving. And my first go-to was it's amazing how quickly she got over her ex being shot in front of her.
Oh wait, pause. Not just her ex being shot. Let's be honest. This was a real life good person. She's never done anything bad in her life. She committed high quality crime. I guess I'll say that was what we call that, white collar, right?
Yeah.
So she commits a crime that, would put the average person away for their entire life because of violating a higher level of authority, basically. Mm-hmm. Someone that she knew and trusted and endeared as a friend committed suicide in front of her. She didn't bat an eye. Yeah. Multiple people are killed right in front of her, including her ex, and she doesn't bat an eye.
Yeah.
And the one thing that shakes her up, the one thing that shakes her up. Oh, do you? How did you know? How did they know who I talked to?
Oh
But we'll
yeah,
get there.
yeah, yeah.
But also, can we please? I have to first ask about while we're back to the EMP gun, the rail gun, because that's what it's a mobile rail gun, right? Or
Mhm.
like that's what they keep calling it, a rail gun. Do you think that's a 50 cal, 40 cal, 60 cal? What you thinking? What do you
Oh
think that
no,
is?
bro. It's they say what it is. They say it shoots aluminum pellets faster than light. That's
Okay,
what
yep, they did say,
that's what
yep,
the
you're
gun
right.
what
You're
the
right.
gun does.
You're right.
So it
But I'm
shoots
still not understanding what
aluminum.
kind of impact that is.
I don't know. I mean, it looks like lasers when it's being shot. It looks like they're getting hit by lasers, but like apparently it's an aluminum sort of pellet that gets shot faster than the speed of light.
Right. That, but yet and still, Arnie can dodge them, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's really
yeah,
why I asked, because it's like,
yeah.
all right, how many times did he dodge this
Oh,
high
many
caliber plasma
times.
rifle? Hold on,
That's
wait.
right.
And not only did he dodge it, the vortex that comes behind it. You know how many people have been killed by the trail that follows certain velocity of bullets?
Right.
No
Yeah.
effect on him.
No, no, no. He's
Every
cool.
everything
He's
else is
Arnie.
exploding, but he's fine.
Yeah, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He can do whatever he wants.
Gosh.
Not to mention that these guns have like these scopes that are X-ray vision scopes. They
Um,
can see through buildings and stuff.
right. I'm like, I can't even think of a superhero that had any capability of that one.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty complicated.
Superman couldn't see through that many layers.
Right. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of sets up Vanessa Williams with this like alternate life. So he burns her ID and her credit cards in a fire, and then all of a sudden she's been erased. I
Mm-hmm.
wish that we could go back to simpler times like that, but
If I'm being honest, I don't. Only because did you really think the FBI was gonna? Oh no, it's just this one situation and it's all gone. They're messy.
yeah, yeah, of
Their
course.
job is to be messy. Are you joking?
Right, right. That's true. So Arnie sets her up with this secondary life and basically tells her to hide. So she's got to wait for trial, basically. And after he drops her off in a safe house, he meets up with James Caan, which is his, basically like his mentor boss in the same witness protection scheme
Mm-hmm.
organization. And he's saying, like, oh, we need your help on this new mission. And, we're going to be working with the CIA and the FBI. And, Arnie's always like, oh, I work alone. I'm a lone wolf, and James Caan's like, okay, well, we need you this one time. And so they go to, I guess, secure a witness from a hostage situation, right? And I like that when they're getting ready, like everybody's wearing a bulletproof vest except for Arnold.
Right.
he's got no bulletproof vest on at all.
Hey, when you're the best in the business, you don't have to be attentive to the
Yeah.
people behind you with guns.
Right. And like the rest of the four guys that are on his team, like all have the vests on. They all look like, basically like feds in their suits and stuff. And Arnold's got like a t-shirt with a leather vest on and some like tight jeans, and he's just ready to kick ass, man.
Looking
And
like
it's
American law enforcement agent.
it's hilarious. And then obviously he has the sawed-off shotgun, which is the nod to the Terminator movie for sure. And then we find out that during this apparent rescue mission of a witness, James Caan's character is a bad guy.
Right.
Dun dun dun. This one broke one of the cardinal rules of the 90s movies as well, is that the bad guy is always the person who's really nice to the protagonist at the beginning of the film. Mm-hmm. Like that's all, like 90% of the time that's who the bad guy is.
Oh, that's your best friend? He's the guy that's gonna turn.
Yeah, he's the guy that's going to kill you.
Yep.
So James Caan kills the witness. I don't even know why. They didn't even explain as to why.
She was the reporter.
Was she? No,
Yeah.
That wasn't the reporter she was talking to. No,
I thought she was the reporter.
No, two different people. Totally different. Yeah,
they just killed her separately. Because remember when he tells her that she's dead, and that's when I was like, wait. Was that?
Yeah,
her?
they said that
I don't
the
think it was
reporter
the same
was
actor.
The reporter, no, they said that the reporter was dead before they went on this mission to go rescue somebody else. And so James Caan kills this witness, and I don't really know why, because we've never seen her before and she doesn't seem pertinent to the story. I think the only reason that he kills that witness is just to let us know let us know that he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's going to try to get to Vanessa Williams. And of course, after, James Caan basically pretends to mouth the witness as she bleeds out. So that
That
it
was
looks
weird.
like, it was really weird. So that it looks like he's trying to save her instead of like killing her.
It did not. And so if I'm being honest also, now, if being honest, I actually expected Arnold's character, when he walked in and saw that, for him to call him on his shit right then and there. And be like, hey,
you're smothering her. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're not trying to save her. But no.
Yeah, you're pushing your face into her face.
Or the terrible guy that comes in and, looking directly at him, takes the picture out.
Right.
Is this yours? What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. So they find a picture of Vanessa Williams's character on this witness, and that makes Arnie think, oh, she's in danger. So James Caan is like, oh, we got to go find her, man. We got to make sure that she's okay, knowing that that is his target, basically. Like, James Caan is trying to get after Vanessa Williams because he's helping the Cyrex Corporation kind of cover all of this up.
Right. And that's why I think not only did he kill that witness, but he didn't mind killing that person, just because he's willing to kill to get whatever he wants to it.
Right. And so they're on their way on a plane, and Schwarzenegger tells James Caan that the witness, Vanessa Williams, is in Georgia, but she's not really in Georgia. She's in New York. So I think he caught on to it and was a little bit suspicious when they wanted to go find her. So they're on a plane, and this is like one of those military op planes that kind of like has, computers and, CIA style plane. And James Caan just starts acting the heel all of a sudden, and Arnie gets roofied, and James Caan takes like his phone and tries to find the number to Vanessa Williams's character. And obviously Arnie, right before he passes out from the roofie, cleared his cell phone, but not before he could get out a 911 page to Vanessa Williams so that she would know they're coming for her.
Man.
So James Caan's got like this CIA cowboy dude that, like is doing his own thing and kind of trying to make his own money off of, like doing shady deals and stuff. And so he basically, there's this like newbie that's on their team that was helping them for that mission they were on. And he just basically kills the newbie for no reason. And then he
he didn't kill him. He evaluated him.
Oh yeah, that's right. He evaluated him by putting 2 bullets in his chest. So, like James is obviously, he's the full heel turn has happened. And so Arnie wakes up from his slumber. Who knows how long he was asleep? Probably a few hours at least.
Yeah.
And they have a standoff, and it's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, it was you this whole time. You're the bad guy. And, James Caan's like, I'm just trying to make money. That's the way this world works,
Right.
like typical bad guy sort of speech. Like, this is the way the world is, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then they have a shootout on a plane. And that is when the movie gets really interesting.
Wait. I'm gonna let you get it in.
So they have this full-blown gunfight on a plane, and Arnold Schwarzenegger kicks out the emergency door, so they're shooting each other while the cabin is depressurizing.
Right.
And they're having like this gunfight on the plane. Then Arnold like realizes he has nowhere to escape, but he sees a parachute, obviously. And so he's like, okay, he's trying to make a move for the parachute. Then suddenly like he gets sucked out of the plane basically, and he's holding on. Oh no! But
you're giving him too much credit saying he's getting sucked out of that plane. But
that's true. He stepped out of the plane. But first, he throws a chair at the turbine of the plane to start to wreck it, and then he kind of steps out of the plane and holds on.
Right. The chair he ripped out of the plane wall.
Yes. Bolted
while the
chair.
Plane was the cabin was depressurizing.
Yeah. At like 30,000 feet or whatever. And so, the plane's turbine is going down, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's like hanging there, and he's like trying to reach for the parachute. Then the parachute flies out of the plane and falls and starts plummeting to earth. And that's when I was like, oh, he's going to jump for it.
Can
Oh,
I go? Can I
he's gonna jump after
tag,
a parachute.
tag me in? Tag
Yeah.
me in.
Oh.
Okay, so this is the point that I highlight as the parachute chasing scene.
Yeah.
So wait, this is how I build up from starting with the shootout.
Yeah.
It my build up goes double cross,
Right.
emergency door,
Yeah.
plane shootout, engine damage.
Yeah.
Wait, rewind. Pull a chair, engine damage,
Yes. Yes.
parachute chase, and that's when I got really into it
The parachute chase thing was amazing.
because
And shout outs to the stunt double that had to fucking
yes,
do that, because that was actually really tough looking. And a lot of those scenes weren't green screen. That was somebody actually plummeting, messing with the parachute. So, yeah.
I wonder how many times they really had to shoot that in real life and from what altitude, because that
Oh,
was
I
something
have no
I had
idea.
to. Right, that was something I came to the conclusion of as well. I was like, wait, this is kind of a cinematic feat for that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's a dangerous thing to do for sure.
Right. So as soon as, first off, you're holding on with two hands, holding on to the side of this plane that you decided to hold on to the side of, because yeah. Then he pulls the parachute out. It just,
Yeah.
also,
It gets yanked out by the wind.
Right. Credit to whoever didn't get him to
Oh yeah, he didn't do very much of that.
Not much at all. And that was probably this was probably the main thing I was expecting. I was waiting for it. Like I was on the edge of my chair, like here it comes. And it didn't come.
Right.
But it was the mini cannonball looking position that he took as he released his hands.
Oh yeah. To be right, to just miss the turbine that's on fire.
Miss the turbine, not get any ash in his eye. You know, that's the reason he made the
Yeah, none of his hair was singed. Nothing.
No fire damage at all.
Yeah.
Then the eye squint that turned into the Racer X looking body chase of the parachute.
Yeah.
Followed by the David Blaine style. Oh, I think I got the harness stuck moment.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which was well ahead of its time. And I think to myself, I wonder if they researched this scene when that whole David Blaine thing was going on.
So he managed to fly after the parachute, put it on in midair while falling, and then the parachute malfunctions.
No. It functions properly until the incredible jet maneuvering comes in.
Oh my god, dude!
I've never seen a jet turn so tight. That jet turned tighter than any motorcycle. You know what? There's no Buick on Earth that can turn as tight as that jet turned.
Dude, okay, so I totally forgot about that. He deploys the parachute and he's floating peacefully in the air. And then James Caan goes into the cockpit of the plane, and the pilots are like, we got a mayday, the plane is going down. And he puts a gun to the pilot's head and is like, turn it around and go after him.
Man.
So the pilot busts like the biggest U-turn on a jumbo jet ever done in the history of the world.
No Buick could have done it.
And just decides to barrel straight at Arnold Schwarzenegger while he's in a parachute. And Schwarzenegger is shooting at the plane with a pistol while he's hanging there waiting for it to come and collide with him.
Right.
It's amazing.
And well, let's not forget how fast the pilot was able to pull it back just in time to miss him and trim the chute.
Right. Oh yeah.
And that's when we get to our malfunction.
It was good guy pilot. Yeah.
Good guy pilot.
His chute malfunctions then, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's when we hit our malfunction. And so as he gets wrapped up into the chute and we have a brief malfunction and he's tumbling and hurtling towards the earth on his way to a potential splatter, he has an incredible recovery. Now, what I thought was interesting, the recovery was not close to realistic in my opinion.
Oh, dude, no.
But the landing from
the landing was the best.
That was awesome. And that was even slightly believable, not because
it wasn't.
It happened in real life.
He crushed a car.
It was only slightly believable because that was the moment I remembered. Oh yeah, he was the Terminator.
Yeah, he literally landed like Bruce Banner after being ejected from like one of those spaceships or whatever.
Right.
We made a crater in that car.
I thought that was incredible.
So good. It's so good. And then the kids because he lands in a junkyard and he lands on this like, beat up old jalopy, and then these kids come and finesse him for $50 by trading the parachute and $50 for a working truck. And that's how he gets out of this situation.
Paid the kids $50. Like, all right.
Right. Yeah, they got to make their money. That's respect.
Hey, I'm just glad the little black kids didn't have to pull a gun to get paid.
Right.
Movies in the 90s, you never know.
Yes, that's true. That is true. So then we kind of cut to Vanessa Williams' character, and since she got the 911 page, she went to the pre-designated area to wait for Arnold Schwarzenegger. They had agreed that they were going to meet at the Brooklyn Zoo, I believe, and she was supposed to wait by this particular payphone. And so she's been waiting there all day. Obviously, Arnold got tied up, and quite literally. And and so he hasn't made it yet, and it's 10 minutes until the zoo closes. It's dark. She's kind of like wondering what the heck is going on, and then all of a sudden some guys come out of the darkness and they're like, hey, we're with John, we want to help you. And she pulls the smoothest response I've ever seen. Was because Arnie had warned her, like, hey, don't I
work alone.
Yeah, I work alone, so if anybody comes to you and says that they're working with me, use this, and gives her a snub nose 38. And so when this guy approaches her, she's like, oh, so you work with John, so you must know the secret handshake. And he's like, what secret handshake? Pulls the snub nose out and shoots him in the leg. And
just shoots him through her purse, actually.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's what I thought was the smoothest thing about it was, wait, was she clutching through the purse and put a hole in him through the purse? Oh, that's
probably the best move, to be honest. Like, she didn't have to pull it. So
I became instantly jealous of women in danger. Not because they're in danger, but because I will never be able to protect myself and smoothly shoot someone through a bag, because I will not be carrying a bag of that nature.
Right. So homeboy gets shot in the leg. Homeboy gets shot in the leg, and then she goes and runs, and then Arnie meets up with her, and there's a shootout at the zoo, which is my second favorite part of this movie.
No, this was almost as good as the first one, but it has to come in number 3 for me. But we'll get there.
Yes.
Can someone explain to me, one, how did he know where he landed? 2, how did he know how to get where he needed to go? How did you even know you were in New York City?
I didn't even know that he was in New York City. He landed in some junkyard.
Right. And you just drove that junkyard truck from wherever it was all the way to the zoo in New York City.
Yeah, apparently.
We didn't get to see you at the gas station picking up some beef jerky or nothing.
No, man, there was a gun shootout. He had to be there quick. She was not going to survive.
Hey, but he saved the best type of witness, if we want to be honest, a vigilante.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
she I think even if she didn't necessarily have him, but she was in some of those situations, she would have reacted the same way. She didn't hesitate to shoot the guy. She didn't hesitate to know when to run in certain situations or when to get out of the boss's office at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I personally never really viewed her as like a victim of any of this. It was like, no, you're just the person that has to stay alive. But
she wasn't a damsel. She wasn't a damsel, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Which I appreciated that a little.
Yeah. I don't fault her. It's just that she had a six shooter and they had lots of guns. So she was outmatched firepower wise. Arnie shows up. She doesn't have any more bullets. He's only got 2 more bullets left by the time he gets to her. And they're in this little like terrarian reptile house area, and they got these dudes closing in on them. They're on one side of the reptile house and they're on the other, and they're coming closer. Arnie pulls out the boss move and shoots the alligator tank and releases the alligators. And the best death in the movie is the guy, one of the henchmen, getting eaten by alligators for sure. And then the alligators aren't satiated by one henchman. They start going after Arnie, and Arnie has to fight an alligator, and then eventually he shoots it in the head. And the best line of the movie is "your luggage."
Yeah. Oh wait, that is only one of the best lines of the movie. There were a few more. If we're being honest, the best line of the movie was, "Who's he?" Not the one where if I told you I had to kill you, but no, it was, "Who the hell does he think he is?"
Oh yeah.
The best in the business.
The
And
best
I
in the
agree.
business, and I
I wouldn't
agree.
piss him off if I were you. The guy you brung here for us to set up?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who are you trying to prove this to?
Right. Because you're scaring the shit out of me. I don't know why you brought me here to tell me this dude's the best, but now you want me to pull a gun on him. What are you?
Right.
You're not
So
my friend. You're barely my boss, but you're definitely not my friend.
So with a little help from the alligators, Arnie and Vanessa were able to get out of that situation. And then they meet up with the guy in the first scene, the guy that was being tortured by the mafioso guys, the one that he was able to help start a new life. And I guess he set the dude up as a bartender at a gay bar, which is funny because I always feel like that every action movie has to have that scene where like the machismo protagonist goes into the gay bar and it's like, awkward, like, and it ends up always being super tame and not awkward at all. Like,
right. Well, and so this is after also we find out he has to get hard evidence to prove his innocence. Now, and really quick before I say, because I have something else as far as the meeting up with the next guy, the guy he met up with as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I also noticed in the zoo scene, really quick, back to the whole gator scene in the terrarium. So we go from the whole movie of having some decent looking people who have been trained to shoot, look like they actually know what they're doing with guns here and there.
Yeah.
And you have the one guy who runs in shooting like he learned how to shoot by watching 80s gang movies.
Oh, yeah. Wildly like, shooting, for sure.
Wildly. But he didn't hit any of the glass, for the record.
No, of course not.
But so fast forwarding back to the meeting the guy, what I noticed, and I thought this was really cool, not only did that bring that full circle as far as who the guy was in the beginning and him being able to be beneficial here, but realizing that every friend he had outside of the one guy he associated with that we saw, who's still the guy who set him up, are clients. They are all people that he's erased in the past. Yeah, that he's helped in the past. And he's basically set them up in places to where they can be central hubs for him.
Right. Yeah. They're like little safe houses for him.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. That's to notice, but they didn't really put an eye on it per se.
Yeah. They didn't bring a lot of attention to that, but yeah, that was a nice little tip. So this mob dude agrees to help Arnold, and they decide that they need to break into Cyrez, right? And in order to break in, they basically have to go into the computers and they have to pull more information. Is that what they're trying to do, or they're trying to decrypt the disk?
Yeah, they're just trying to break in and decrypt the disk simply because they don't know what all is being moved. They don't know, and he doesn't have any proof of what is being said. Like he doesn't know that this is actually going down, and he has to get that proof.
Right, and all the physical evidence is on the disk, but the disk is encrypted, and they can only decrypt it at Cyrex. Got it. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when we get to the decryption, and we're not even worrying about, they were moving a large amount of weapons, and these weapons simply weren't supposed to exist. And that's why they have to prove this, because it's really hard, because it ain't supposed to happen.
Everything's off the books. It's all classified. Yeah.
Right. But so first let's talk about for me, I want to talk about the idiot that was the guy in charge about all the computers and knew how the building worked and everything. Oh, you could only decrypt that or read that here in this room.
Oh, right.
And then later, I guess you can do it from other places.
You can do it wherever. Yeah.
That was the whole point of me coming to you.
Right. The crux of the defense in James Caan's like a security defense, because they knew that they were going to be trying to break into Cyrex.
Right.
Was that, they can only decrypt that disk from the vault room. And so as long as we keep the vault room secure, then they won't be able to decrypt the disk.
Right.
Then we find out that you could just go down to any computer in any of the offices in the building and decrypt it. Oh, no, what they said was so this is another convoluted thing. So the guy that killed himself left a back door into the system on his computer.
Right. But it was still just crazy that the other guy was like, I guess it could be done, but I didn't know it could be done. But then why didn't you say that? Why'd you just say no?
Right. Right. Of
Like,
course.
but so what? That's where to me it spurs another one of my favorite sayings of the movie, which was, sometimes people don't realize how hard it is to eat without teeth. Like what? Or no,
Oh
they
yeah.
don't realize how much of a luxury it is to chew solid food. That's what it was. What?
Right. Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I'm tired of old guys getting angry and now they want to be all super tough.
Right. Yeah. And isn't that like the worst place for you to? Aren't you supposed to pretend that you're a good guy? Like,
I thought so.
At some point, James Caan was just like, "All right, I'm not pretending to be a good guy anymore. I don't care. Who
I'm
knows
tired
that
of it.
Who knows that I'm selling weapons to terrorists? I don't care."
I'm
Like,
tired of it.
yeah. And so he just starts like muscling people and pointing guns at people and shit. And I'm like, what does he do? What are you doing? Aren't you supposed to pretend that you're a
It
government
was
worker at least?
it was a little that whole moment with him got so confusing, but it was like, all right, well, we know there won't be any more. Hey, here's my badge from him.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah.
And then but then also noting that they got in the way they got in. Now they counted what 32 guards in total, 10 here and 10 over here and so many over here, and they follow orders and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about you had the terrible pizza guy distraction.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was a clever way of kind of like circumventing the high security sort of barrier that they were going to be dealing with.
Right.
So the mob guy that they recruit, agrees to help them, and he dresses up as a pizza delivery guy. And obviously, security is very heightened, and everybody's super paranoid. And so he's delivering to the corporation, and he's out in the lobby, and he's like, "I got the pizza pie for you. It's molto bene," and he's acting up, and like, he's kind of being suspicious. And so the security team like pats him down and frisks him. He's clean. He's got pizzas. He actually is just a pizza guy, they think. And then as his face is to the wall, he swallows a couple Alka-Seltzers. Right. And when he turns around, he's foaming at the mouth and he starts convulsing on the floor. And so they're like, "Oh no, this guy's having a seizure. We got to get him to our infirmary. Okay, call an ambulance." And that's how Arnold and Vanessa are able to get into the
distraction.
Yes. So they pose as EMTs and arrive as the ambulance in order to get into the building, which I thought was actually pretty clever.
Now that part I thought was clever. Don't get me misunderstood. When I say it was terrible, the terrible part for me is this is supposed to be a high security building. High security, your ass back to work and let the EMTs do their job.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is true.
And my favorite, everybody, all six of y'all don't need to come over here. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and my favorite thing is though, so like the pizza guy or the mob guy who was pretending to be a pizza delivery guy, he's on a gurney and in the infirmary, and he unplugs his monitor so it sounds like he flatlined, and the doctor lady starts to defib him while he's like conscious and telling her no.
Yeah. Because she gagged him by that point, he couldn't do anything. So he
right.
bite on his tongue.
It's just so ridiculous, man. It's so funny. So they basically make it in, and they're like, James Caan is freaking out because they find out that they infiltrated, and they think it's in the vault, and then they realize, oh no, it was actually at the CEO's penthouse, office. That's where they're decrypting everying,
and the wasteful high security door.
Right. Oh yeah. They just shot the vault door.
That's what titanium does. They just disintegrates and goes away because you shot it with a 12 gauge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how they get in. So what happens after that? So like a Vanessa Lee gets captured, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So they go on the run. They figure out where they are. They start which, if I'm being honest, they figure out where they are. I kind of can't figure out. I don't quite understand how they got out of the office.
I don't know either.
It's like they got out of the office, but it didn't really make sense how they got out of the office. Like it didn't add up. But so they get out of the office, they're on the run, they get separated by the all of a sudden plexiglass drop.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes. And she gets snatched up by the big bad old guy boss.
Yeah.
And why did I forget his name just now?
James Caan.
Right. Robert. That was his name in the movie. So what got me at that part was, okay, you just happen to know this is the way she's gonna run, so you grab her. Him see each other through these clear glasses and just unload both of their clips.
Yeah, they do. It's bulletproof glass, and they just shoot their entire clips at each other through the bulletproof glass.
But it wasn't even bulletproof. It's like, hold on, wait, wait,
Oh
wait.
no, it was like super flexible plexiglass. The way
Yeah,
it moved when it got shot. Yeah,
yeah. It was like, hold on, what?
That should have gone through.
Listen, at
Yeah,
least something,
right,
or at least it should have been stuck in it. That's how real life
right.
bulletproof glass works.
Yeah, not a mark on this glass at all.
What's that? Cellophane? I mean,
Yeah,
cellophane. But
it's a force field.
once she gets kidnapped, what I think is crazy, well, not crazy, but what I like was my favorite moment of this entire movie to me was they're trying to split up. He and the Italian guy, and the Italian guy, oh, well, I hope however you can, like, if it wasn't for you, this and this would have happened to me. And
Yeah.
All right, well, if anything's happening, it would be happening down there. And I got a cousin Tony, and as I said, as soon as he said that, thank God for fucking cousin Tony. There's always a cousin Tony.
Tony Two Toes, baby.
Tony Two Toes. And Tony is always the man.
Yes, he is.
He's not necessarily the man in what he does, but he's the man you need for what you need.
Yes. So the mob guy obviously has family that run the docks, and they figure out that the transfer, the gun shipment is going out tonight at those docks, and they have to stop him because Vanessa Williams has been captured, and she's probably over there too. And they got to stop the transaction from happening, or else it's over with. The terrorists get the guns.
The terrorists win.
Yeah. So they enlist the mafia to help. And, I actually kind of like the mob boys. I like the mob boys because they made it a little bit funny.
They made everything from the introduction of I got a cousin named Tony my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah. So the mob boys are really great. They're kind of like comic relief almost. And they help Arnie break into the shipyard. And so he has to kind of like find a way to rescue Vanessa Williams's character. She's on the boat with this Russian terrorist guy who's buying the guns from James Caan's character.
Mm-hmm. And being gifted her.
Right. Yes, that's right. That's part of the deal. He gets to do whatever he wants. Right. And then obviously, yeah. And as Arnie is making his way to the ship, there are laser snipers at the shipyard, which I thought would be an awesome band name. Laser snipers at the shipyard. Yeah, exactly. And so he's making his way through the shipyard, and they're trying to use their X-ray scopes to find him, and he's kind of like confiscating them at every turn. And let's see what else happens. And so what else happens? Like he just kind of like he finally takes out one of like the guys with the rifle, and then he basically grabs another one. He starts double fisting the rifles.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Before he's double fisting the rifles, though.
Oh, yeah. So
really quick, and before we move too far away, because once we get into this, we won't be able to go back to our favorite Italian guys. And what I loved about just the way they came was so I don't see no union guys. Like,
yeah.
That was
smooth.
The moment. That was like all right, the screenwriters did something right. They had a little bit of goodness. They had a good day today.
Yes, that was believable. That was would be it would make sense that if you're using a shipyard run by the mafia,
definitely
they're gonna bug you for not having the union guys helping out load the stuff. Yeah.
I thought that was probably, and again, saying from the moment they were introduced, it became everything just became a little more realistic that didn't involve Arnie.
Right. Yeah. And so Arnie gets shot in the shoulder, right? He gets the $1 million wound by one of the bad guys.
Yeah, by a bullet though, not by a plasma rifle, by a regular bullet.
Right, not by the plasma rifle.
And then regular bullets are nothing.
Yeah, the mob boys come and rescue, kind of like Deus Ex Mafia. And Deus Ex Mafia, there you go. And so they help him out, and he's able to kind of like face off with James Caan's character. And they end up on a suspended shipping crate that they have this like squabble on, and James Caan's like, I'm gonna kill this woman, and obviously they have this fight. And I think it's hilarious because I'm like, at no point did I ever think James Caan could even make a dent in Arnie.
Right.
And they really trying to make it seem like James Caan got the better, the better of him at some point. I'm like, this is not believable.
No, I want to see. I want to see. I've seen so many movies where James Caan is fighting in clearly his 50s and 60s, where he's moving half a mile an hour just to lift a cup of water.
Right.
I would love to know if he had any high action scenes when he was a younger actor. Like, can we see you move your arm any faster?
Yeah, no.
Like,
no, he just did he did the old guy beat up method of, like very stiff kicks and punches.
Right. Ooh, I move slow, but I'm strong.
Yeah, exactly.
I fight like I'm Irish.
Right. So they have this fight on this suspended shipping container, and then Arnie somehow cuts it free from the crane that's suspending it, and they both drop like 40 or 50 feet to the floor. And Arnie, of course, has no scratches on him, but James Caan got crushed by the rubble,
and still only had an arm in a sling.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So James Caan actually gets arrested. He's apprehended. He's not killed, which is interesting. And we think it's over, basically. Like, that to me seemed like that was the end, but then they just pulled out like one of the best surprise endings I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so towards like this is basically like the end final scenes. James Caan is coming out of the courthouse, and apparently he spun this whole situation in a way that makes him look like he was a patriot,
right?
Because he was thwarting an arms deal or whatever. So he comes out like smelling like a rose, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Vanessa Williams are at the courthouse too, and I guess this is like one of the days she testified. And they're coming out and they're like, okay, well, he's still around, but you're going to be testifying. So it still matters. And so they decide, they get into this van, and the van blows up. And honestly, I would have been totally okay with it ending right there.
Yeah.
I really did think
American government ending I liked.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, that was the most realistic thing that I could have imagined. I was like, oh, wow. They just killed them off. Like, that is exactly what would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's what we would expect to happen.
Right.
From the lore we've been given, allegedly.
Which, I mean, that was a wonderful fake out, because I really did think that they killed them off at that moment. Mm-hmm. And then you see that the van is actually parked underneath a grate, and they are slipping into the sewers. So they erased themselves by staging their own death. And James Caan is with his cronies in a limousine, and they're like, talking about how, oh, that's great, they're dead. We don't have to worry about them anymore. And one of his buddies is like, that was he was telling one of his buddies, that was a real stroke of genius. I didn't think that you would blow them up like that. Like, there's so much plausible deniability, like we're getting out of this scot free, right? And the friend is like, oh, I thought you were the one that blew them up. And then it dawns on them, and their limousine doors lock. The limousine rolls to a stop on a pair of train tracks, and the driver gets out. And you got Arnie calling James Caan in his limo.
Can I say it?
Yes, please.
He tells him, "You've been arrested."
Amazing. And a train comes and hits James Caan and blows him to smithereens.
Right.
And
another part I liked.
And
another realistic type of outcome, from just understanding the impact of a locomotive, of train moving at a high rate of speed. Yeah. Everything in its path is being disintegrated. There is nothing to collect. There is nothing to investigate.
Well, and I thought that was kind of realistic too, because it's like, this guy is so entrenched with the government and so embedded in the system that you can't take him down. Like, he's not going to jail. He's not going to face any repercussions for what he did. And so the only option is to erase him.
Right.
And so the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, according to Eraser, is that murder solves all your problems.
Murder it all. Murder it fast.
Yeah. And that is the roll of credits on Eraser. We hope that you guys enjoyed this little synopsis. We're going to get into our ratings now. And yes,
can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Get into our ratings,
please.
And please, anyone who, when you listen, anyone who is watching, I would like for you guys to answer this too, rather in the comments or, send us a link, a DM, anything.
Yeah.
Why is it when someone has to look for Arnold Schwarzenegger, no one ever says in any movie, no one ever says, look for the guy with the Austrian accent.
Yeah, that is true. Nobody ever really like I mean, they do kind of sometimes they mention it, right? I feel like there's been movies where they mention him having a funny accent, but it's not like yeah, it's definitely yeah, it's definitely funny how it's like, he's an all-American government guy, but he has this really thick
Right.
Austrian accent.
So
Yeah.
the only movies I could ever remember them even joking about his accent was anything with Danny DeVito in it. That's it.
Right,
And
right.
that was what,
Yeah.
Just Get Shorty?
Twins.
Twins,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
Get Shorty? I gotta look that up. Sorry for anyone that offended.
Yeah. All right. So are we ready for our rating system?
Very ready.
Okay, so this is the way things are going to work for our rating system, ladies and gentlemen. We both get 5 points, and our combined rating will be out of 10. So I just want to give a little bit of pre-information before we rate this. IMDb review has this at a 6.1. Rotten Tomatoes critic score is a 38%, and the audience score is a 37%. Now, what I have to say about my personal review, and it's going to be out of 5. Keelan's also is out of 5. Um, this isn't the movie you see if you want to watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. This is not even in this isn't even the 10th movie that you see if you want to watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Like I can literally tell you that you will enjoy watching any other Arnold Schwarzenegger movie before this one. Um, there were certain moments where I thought, I was highly entertained, but I was highly entertained ironically. When the plane comes at him while he's in a parachute and he's shooting it, that's hilarious. So if there's a level of you want to watch this with a level of irony, I totally get it. But if you're trying to have an earnest watch, this movie really isn't taking the cake. Vanessa Williams doesn't really have much to work with in this movie either. Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't have much to work with in this movie either. Like, there's no depth to any of the characters, really. This is all very surface, very just throw in some action and, eat some popcorn type of movie. So with that in consideration, with the kind of the plot being a little bit ridiculous and kind of boring, if we're honest, like the story isn't that, high stakes. I mean, terrorists get weapons all the time, and it would seem that these plasma guns are probably the least of our worries. So my rating will be a 2 out of 5, and it's because there's just not a lot here. And I gave it a 2 because there are some moments. I do believe that the ending was actually quite good. It did fake me out. I really did believe that they were just going to blow them up. But I was quite surprised by the way they executed that. And there were some writing elements that kind of made sense, like Keelan mentioned, the mafia shaking the bad guys down because they didn't have union people in the dock. That made a lot of sense. That actually kind of hinted at somebody caring about the plot. But there was just so much that it couldn't make up for. So it's a 2 out of 5 for me.
Right. Hey, and I totally understand, because a lot of things, as I said earlier, and as you just shared, a lot of those things in regards to the screenwriting is what saved it, in my opinion, as far as my ratings. Because if we're talking about acting, the best actor in this entire movie, the person that did their scenes the best was the Italian guy that was in the bar, real name Robert Pastorelli.
Right.
He had the best role in the entire movie, and he was the 5th most important character, maybe
Yeah,
the 6th most important character.
He probably had about 10 minutes of screen time. Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, understanding again, they were right in the back end of the Terminator hype, using Vanessa Williams coming off of the Miss America hype. I understand how this came to be. So just kind of off of those things, it got a little bit of a nudge. The entertainment value for me, I I laughed. I laughed a lot. Like I wholeheartedly enjoyed the humor I found in this movie. Even though I understand that some of that humor isn't humorous to other people, but that's humor. It's unique to everyone's palate.
Mm.
Um, so for me, I ended up giving it a 3.5 as a 1996 movie. I'm going to be honest. If this were the 90s still and we were not in 2020, this could possibly get a solid 4 from me.
I honestly, that is crazy, man. You are making some crazy claims right now. I'm going to hold
I
you
didn't say
to
it was
this.
amazing. I didn't say it was amazing. I said I enjoyed it. I was
I'm
thoroughly.
gonna hold you to this
Don't do
review
it.
when we review, like, Schindler's List or something like that. You know what I mean?
No,
Like, and
come on.
I'm gonna be
Okay,
like,
okay.
this is the dude that gave Eraser a 3.5.
All right. You know what? All right. He's right. He's right. He's right. We're going back. I have to give it a 2.5, but still, it only even gets what it's getting because I was entertained. It was
Yeah,
not a good movie
I got
at
you.
all,
Yeah.
but
No,
I was
I get it.
entertained.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. There is a lot of cheese to it, which I can find entertaining. That's why I did give it a 2.5. It's not average. It is below average, but it's not that much below average.
Right.
So that would put our score for Eraser a 4.5 out of 10,
Yes,
ladies and
indeed.
gentlemen. That's a 4.5 out of 10. We really hope that you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode because you know the way this is going to work. We have a couple of actors in this movie that we are going to decide who we're going to follow, and then we're going to take a movie in their catalog and review that next. So stay tuned for that. It likely be James Caan. He's got the most. He's got the most movies under his belt. We might find something else, but you will be surprised. And we look forward to seeing how this is going to go in the future. I'm very excited to see where we end up in a year out of this very humble Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
As am I. I appreciate you guys, man. This is really, really exciting for us, and
Mm-hmm.
I really can't wait to figure out what we're doing next and present it for you.
Yeah, me too. And thank you guys so much for listening. Please consider giving us a like. We are creating a Facebook page. We're going to have our YouTube up for the next episode. So please stay tuned for that information. Please give us a follow. Give us some feedback. If you can think of a James Caan movie that we might be reviewing, let us know. Let us know which one you would prefer us review. Maybe we'll take that into consideration. But really, this is all about navigating the screen time continuum. We're trying to find wormhole after wormhole to see where we end up in this movie universe, and we hope that you'll take the journey with us. And we can't wait to talk to you until next week. So until then, guys, have a great night.
Later on, guys. Be safe.